Hey everybody, I hope that you guys have had an amazing weekend and that your Monday has started off on the right foot. I had a really good weekend, a productive weekend. Um, my husband and I, excuse me, are building a walk-in closet. And I'm so excited because I have never had a walk-in closet. So we've been working on that, and then I had my grandson over for a little bit. Oh, and my daughter comes with them too for some reason. I don't know, but grandkids first. But so I get to spend time with him. That kid can always make me laugh, smile, whatever. It doesn't matter what kind of mood I am when he walks through that door. It all goes away, and he just lights up my world. So, the topic that I'm going to cover today is what to say to somebody who is depressed. Now, this is tricky, and I'm going to start off by saying that what is okay to be said to me may not be okay to be said to somebody else that has depression or anxiety, because I believe that what I'm about to talk about can be intertwined with both of those. First things first, depression. There is this big old depression is thrown around so much, and not many people really understand what it means to be depressed or have anxiety. If you don't have either of those things, you may misconstrue what your loved one is going through. So I'd like to kind of make an analogy here. Everybody has something that they're afraid of, whether it be snakes or spiders, or I'm deathly afraid of frogs. Why? I don't know. It's just me. So, I want you to think about whatever it is that you're afraid of. And I'm just going to use frogs in this instance because that's what I'm afraid of. Now, me being afraid of frogs and deathly afraid of frogs is hilarious to somebody else because they don't get it. I mean, frogs, come on. They do nothing. Okay. But this is what the person is going through. When that frog hops in, or the snake, or whatever it is that you're afraid of, your heart starts to beat really fast. You jump. You're scared. You're backing away. It's just the worst thing in the world that is happening right now. And like if you're afraid of spiders and there's a spider in your bathtub that's, no bigger than the tip of my pinky, you're screaming for somebody to come kill that spider. You want it to go away. That's kind of like anxiety and depression in a nutshell. I don't understand why you're afraid of spiders. Okay? It's in your head. It's a fear that is only understood by you. So depression and anxiety is something that is unique to the person that is suffering from it. It's fear. It's backing away from things. It's, isolating yourself from the area where that spider is. And I hope that makes sense. Because if you really think about it, a person that has anxiety doesn't go to the place that causes the anxiety. They back away from it. You don't understand it. It may seem irrational to you that this person can't be in a group of people, let's say. But yet, this person just can't do it. Their heart is beating fast. They're scared. They're backing away. And you can actually put depression right into that. Depression may not be a fear of something per se, but it is it's not being able to deal with something that's going on around you. So just kind of think about what I said in the characteristics that I just gave, because that's basically what it is in a nutshell, but more. So what should a person say to somebody who has depression? First things first. I hope and pray that you talk to the person when they are not in the midst of an episode. I hope that you are there for that person in good and in bad. The story goes, don't come to my funeral and weep, or come to my graveside and weep. And don't bring me flowers when I'm dead. Do it while I'm alive. And it's basically the same with depression. The time to talk to the person that has depression is when they're not in an episode. During that time, you can find out things that the depressed person cannot tell you in the midst of an episode. You may find out that, the person that's depressed will tell you what they might need. Some people need hugs. Some people want you to stay away. You just talk to the person when they're not in an episode. And then let's say that you just found out that your sister or brother has depression. So you're trying to figure out, what can I say? What shouldn't I say? Where do we go from here? A person with depression is not crazy. A person with anxiety is not irrational. They're still the same person they were before that episode happened. They just need a little extra during that episode. One thing that I really find to be very condescending that people say to somebody in the midst of an episode is, well, it could always be worse. Yeah, we know that. I know it could be worse. I know that, I could be left alone forever and never have my family, and I know it could be worse. I don't need you to tell me that. And I also don't need you to tell me that Joe Blow down the street has it worse than I do. They might. That could be 100% true. But saying that to a depressed person is like telling a 600-pound person that they're fat. The 600-pound person knows. Okay? You don't need to go tell them. They know. And a depressed person knows that it could be worse, and Joe Blow down the street has it worse than we do. So don't use the condescending terms like that. In the midst of a depression, the things that I always like to hear are things such as, how about, if you need me, I'll be here. Or, I don't know what you're going through right now, but no matter what, I've got your back. And telling somebody that I'm never going to leave you. Because like I have told you before, depression can come out in anger. Okay? I don't know how many times I told my husband I wanted a divorce. Honest to God. In the midst of a depression, I just wanted him to go away. I didn't want him to go away, but that was my outward expression. You know, I want a divorce. Just go. I can't make you happy. Just go. So a person needs to know that no matter what, in the midst of that depression, you're still going to be there. You can walk away, but not forever. When the person's being mean and nasty, you can go in the other room and not deal with that at the moment. But just make sure that that person knows that you're always going to be there, no matter what. If somebody tells you that they're going to commit suicide, you need to listen. You absolutely need to listen. Sometimes in the middle of an episode, you know, I don't honestly think that I have ever really wanted to die. But I do think that I wanted everybody around me to know just how bad I was hurting inside. And there were times when I said, I'm going to kill myself. There were times that I didn't try. And then there were times that I did. On my first video, I told you about taking a bottle of aspirin at the age of 13. I have many scars on my wrist from the cuts from trying to die. If you honestly think about it, that's not going to do anything. I bled, got taken to the hospital, got stitched up, and got sent home. And taking pills, they pump out your stomach, and it's disgusting. But it had my family not taken my words seriously, I could have died. Had my husband not come home from work the day that I called him and said, I can't do this anymore, and I had slit my wrists, had he not come home, and actually he called my mother and my father-in-law and got them to me because he knew he was going to be a while before he got to me. And had he not done that, you know, nobody knows. And after the 15th time of me saying that I wanted to die and that I was going to commit suicide, and, you know, there were times that I didn't, my husband never once, not once, didn't take me seriously. If I said it, he was listening. And as a matter of fact, a few years, I haven't had a really, really bad episode in a very long time. And I think it was about 3 years ago. I think, I could be wrong on that, but I was actually on the phone with my daughter, and my heart was hurting, and I just couldn't take anymore. And I had told him I was done. My husband was sleeping. And I said, I'm done. I will never hurt you guys again. I love you no matter what. I'm sorry I've been a screw up and all that stuff that a depressed person will say. And I hung up the phone. And they tried calling and they tried texting, and next thing I knew, there was a knock on my door, and it was a police officer. And it was because I had said I was going to commit suicide, and my daughters took me seriously. I didn't. was really contemplating it that night. I remember that was a really rough night for me. But they took me seriously. And they cried with me. And they loved on me. It was Zach. It was. And, you know, that was probably the lowest point I've had in my episodes in a very, very long time. And I haven't had one since then, thank God. But my point in telling you all that was that listening is the most important thing that you can do. Saying that you will never leave, no matter what, no matter how mean I get. I mean, within reason, you know. I'm Judy, I love you. I absolutely adore you, and I hope that you will always know that. And I am so thankful for your friendship. But we need to take care of one another. And we need to realize that depression isn't a joke. And like I said, that word gets thrown around a lot. But as long as we acknowledge the people that say that they have it, and as long as you acknowledge that, you know, you're going to be there, nothing you can say or do is going to make me step away from you. It'll be okay. And if this is a new diagnosis on somebody, for God's sake, don't ignore it. Don't pretend that it's not there. Don't pretend that life is just, you know, roses and butterflies and rainbows. You need to talk about the elephant in the room. Depression is a disease. It's a disease of the chemistry of the brain. You would talk to somebody and find out all the information that you could if your loved one was diagnosed with cancer. You would want to know what you can do, where you should go, the best medications, the best doctors in the world. You would do everything to make sure that that person with cancer is treated to the best of your ability. When your loved one is diagnosed with any mental illness, don't pretend that it's taboo. Do not pretend that you can't say the D word. And I'm not talking about, you know, I'm talking about depression. You know, and don't pretend that anxiety is this, you know, weird thing. Whatever, it's just got anxiety. I'm not going to talk about it. We're just going to pretend it doesn't happen. No, you can't do that. The more you talk about it with your loved one, the more they're going to know that you care. You cannot say anything to somebody with depression or anxiety that is going to make them say, you know, get away from me. They're going to be so honored, to be honest with you, that you care enough to ask those questions. So I urge anybody here, if you know of somebody that is going through anything like that, talk to them. Bring it up. You know, pull out your laptop, sit next to the person. Well, let's find out everything that we can about this. And, you know, NBC had it right. The more you know, the more educated that you are, the better off the person that is depressed or has anxiety will be. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. Would you be embarrassed if your husband had a heart attack? No. Why would you be? So why would you be embarrassed of somebody that has depression or anxiety or any mental illness? We all need to be there for each other. And in a world where, man, we can be mean. That internet, it can be a crazy, cruel place. We need to stop. Be there for one another, because you never know who you may talk to that has depression. You never know that the person in line behind you at the grocery store, those words when you said, "Oh my gosh, I like your shirt. Where did you get that?" You never know when that makes somebody's day. Talk about depression. Talk about it all. Be there for one another. Never leave. We've got this, you guys. We're going to beat the stigma and the craziness. And yes, I can say that because, I have depression, so that is associated with this stuff. Mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of or to mock. So, I hope that I covered a little bit of what you can say. Just remember what not to say. And be there for one another. Love one another. And we can beat it. All of us together. So I hope that you guys have an amazing day. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you've liked the page and it's set to have your notifications on. I usually go live anywhere between 11 and 11:30. Just depends on what's going on. But like I said, I hope you have a super great day. And just remember that your story isn't over.